the daughter I never had. I was so lonely, I didn't see the trap. It had been 2 years since Robert died, 2 years of waking up to silence, 2 years of cooking dinner for one, 2 years of sitting in a house that felt too big, too empty, too full of memories. At 59, I thought I knew loneliness, but after Robert was gone, I discovered a new kind. The kind that follows you from room to room, the kind that sits across from you at dinner, the kind that whispers in the dark that maybe this is all there is now. So I placed an ad for a roommate. I told myself it was practical. The house was too big. The bills were piling up. I needed help. But the truth? I just needed someone, anyone. She showed up on a Tuesday afternoon in early spring. 26 years old, Kayla Morrison. She had this warm smile and these kind eyes that reminded me of someone I used to know, maybe myself a long time ago. She told me she'd just moved to town for work, that she was clean and quiet and loved to cook, that her mother had died when she was young, and she'd been on her own ever since. When she said I reminded her of her mother, something inside me broke open, or maybe it was already broken and she just found the crack. She moved in that weekend, and for the first time in 2 years, the house didn't feel so empty. The first month felt like a gift. Kayla made breakfast every morning, real breakfast, not just coffee and regret. She asked about my day, about Robert, about my life before, and she listened, really listened. Not the polite nodding people do when they're waiting for you to stop talking. She actually cared. We fell into a rhythm. She'd cook, I'd clean. We'd watch old movies on Friday nights. She'd tell me about her day, about the people at work, about the life she was building here. And then one day, she called me Mum Barbara. It was casual, natural, like it had always been that way. Mum Barbara. I'd never had children. Robert and I tried for years. Specialists, treatments, prayers. Nothing worked. That empty space, that missing piece, had haunted me my whole life. And suddenly, it felt filled. One evening, she came home crying. Her boyfriend had ended things. She sat on the couch and just fell apart. And I held her while she cried. I stroked her hair and told her she was wonderful, that any man would be lucky to have her, that she deserved so much better. She looked up at me with those red, swollen eyes and whispered that she'd never had anyone who cared about her like this. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed thinking about what would happen to everything when I was gone. My nephew and niece hadn't called in 5 years. They didn't need my money. They had their own lives, their own families. But Kayla needed me, and I needed her. The next morning, I called my lawyer. I changed my will. My friend Susan came to visit 3 months after Kayla moved in. Susan had known me for 30 years. She could read my face like a book, could hear the things I didn't say. We were having tea when Kayla walked through the living room. She gave us a bright smile, asked if we needed anything, then disappeared upstairs. The moment she was gone, Susan's expression changed. She asked me where I'd found Kayla. When I told her about the roommate ad, she went quiet for a moment. Then she said something that's haunted me ever since. She said it seems strange. A 26-year-old wanting to live with someone my age. She said Kayla was too perfect, too attentive, too good to be true. I got defensive. I told her she was jealous, that she couldn't stand seeing me happy for once. She left soon after. But that night, her words kept circling in my head. Too perfect, too good to be true. I tried to push the thoughts away, tried to tell myself I was being paranoid, ungrateful, suspicious for no reason. But around midnight, I heard footsteps. Kayla's room was next to mine, and I saw light coming from under her door. I got up, walked down the hallway, told myself I was just checking if she was okay. Her door was open just a crack. I shouldn't have looked. I knew I shouldn't have looked, but I did. Kayla was sitting at her laptop. The screen lit up her face in the darkness. She was scrolling through something, taking notes in a small journal. And then I saw the heading on her screen: How to Target Wealthy, Lonely Seniors, a step-by-step guide. I stood there, frozen. My heart stopped. My breath stopped. Everything stopped. I didn't sleep that night. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, trying to convince myself there was an explanation. Maybe it was for a class. Maybe she was writing an article. Maybe I'd misread it. But I knew what I'd seen. The next morning, I smiled at her over breakfast, laughed at her jokes, pretended nothing was wrong. The moment she left for work, I went to her room. I'd never been the kind of person who snooped, never looked through Robert's things, never read his emails or checked his phone. Privacy mattered to me, but fear is stronger than principles. I opened her laptop, found a folder with my initials. Inside were documents, photos of my house from different angles, screenshots of my Facebook page, notes about my daily routine, my friends, my habits, and a file called Timeline. Week 1. Build trust. Be vulnerable. Week 4. Establish emotional dependency. Week 8. Discuss inheritance casually. Week 12. Encourage will change. Week 16 to 20. Prepare exit strategy. My hands were shaking so hard I could barely move the mouse. I searched her name online. Kayla Morrison. Nothing came up. Not on Facebook, not on LinkedIn, nowhere. I tried variations, different spellings, added her age, the city, and then I found a news article from 3 years ago. Police investigating the death of an elderly woman. The caretaker, a young woman named Casey Miller, had been questioned but never charged. The photo showed a girl with different hair, a different style, but the face was the same. It was Kayla. I called a private investigator, told him I needed information immediately, told him money was no object. 2 days later, he called me back. 7 elderly people over 5 years, 4 of them dead within a year of changing their wills. Falls, overdoses, accidents, heart attacks. Police had investigated every time. Never enough evidence. But the pattern was clear. I was next on her list. I called my lawyer that same afternoon. Told him I needed to change my will back immediately. He said he could come by the next morning, but something in my voice must have scared him because he agreed to come that evening instead. He was supposed to arrive at 9, but at 8:47, I walked toward the stairs to get my documents from the bedroom. My foot touched the first step, and I slipped. The world tilted. I was falling backward. My arms flailed uselessly. In that split second, I saw my entire life flash by. Robert, my parents. All the moments I'd never have. My hand caught the railing. Barely. My fingers screamed in pain, but I held on. I hung there, gasping, my heart trying to break out of my chest. When I finally pulled myself up, I looked down at the stairs. They were wet, oily. Someone had put something slippery on them. I heard footsteps above me. Kayla appeared at the top of the stairs. She rushed down, grabbed my arm, helped me up. She asked if I was okay, told me I needed to be more careful, said that at my age, a fall like that could be fatal. But her eyes told a different story. She knew that I knew, and she knew I couldn't leave. I tried to run. My car keys were gone. I tried to call for help. My phone had disappeared. The landline was dead. She'd cut the cord. Every exit was blocked. Every escape route closed. I found myself trapped in my own home, the house where I'd lived for 30 years. The house where Robert and I had built our life. The house that was supposed to keep me safe. Kayla found me in the kitchen. She closed the door behind her, locked it, sat down at the table like we were about to have one of our evening chats. She started making tea. She told me she'd given me 6 beautiful months. That I'd been happy, hadn't I? Really, truly happy for the first time in years. She pushed a cup across the table toward me. She explained that if I drank it, everything would be peaceful. I'd fall asleep within 30 minutes. No pain, no fear, just sleep. Everyone would think it was a heart attack. Natural causes. No one would question it. She said she was helping me, ending my loneliness forever. I asked her about the money. She shrugged. Told me that love had a price, that I'd wanted a daughter and she'd needed security, that we'd both gotten what we wanted. I knocked the cup away. It shattered on the floor. She stood up slowly. Her face changed. The warmth disappeared. She told me that if I wouldn't take the easy way, she'd have to use another method. She moved toward me, and that's when I heard it. The front door crashing open, voices shouting, footsteps running. Police flooded into my kitchen. Susan was with them. Kayla's real name was Casey Miller. At 18, her mother had abandoned her, left her at a bus station with nothing but a backpack and $20. She'd grown up in foster care after that, moved from home to home, learnt that love was something you couldn't count on, that the only thing you could trust was money. So she became what lonely people needed, the perfect daughter, the perfect companion. She made them happy, genuinely happy. Their last months were filled with warmth and laughter and someone who cared. And then, when the time was right, she helped them leave peacefully. That's how she saw it. Not as murder, as mercy. At the trial, I watched her cry. Real tears. She actually believed she'd been doing something good. Ending loneliness. Giving people purpose in their final days. The prosecutor asked if love always came with a price tag. She said yes. She said everything has a price. That people who pretend otherwise are lying to themselves. She got life in prison. I visited her once. Just once. Through the glass partition, I looked at this young woman who had almost killed me. And I saw something I hadn't seen before. She was just as lonely as I'd been. Maybe more. We'd both been searching for something to fill the emptiness. She wanted security. I wanted purpose. Neither of us understood what we were really looking for. Confucius taught that love is not about possession. It's about appreciation. I'd wanted to possess a daughter, to fill my empty space with someone else's presence. Casey had wanted to possess security, to fill her empty space with money and safety. We were both wrong. Lao Tzu wrote that true love doesn't seek to own, it seeks to free. I'm alone again now. The house is still too big, still too quiet, but I'm learning something important. It's better to be lonely and whole than surrounded by beautiful lies. The price of fake love is everything. The cost of real love? It's free, but you have to be brave enough to wait for it. Loneliness is not a problem to be solved with just anyone. Real connection cannot be bought, sold, or manipulated. Wait for what's real. Your life may depend on it. Have you ever ignored warning signs because you were lonely? You're not alone. Share your story below. Please subscribe me and see you again.